Rev up your engines!
Ashton the man says, can I put smaller wheels on my car? Well, you can do whatever you want. Here's the thing. Cars were designed for a certain size wheel. You start changing that, it's going to ride different, the speedometer's going to read different. But if you put smaller wheels on a car, realize that what you'll have is, you'll have a vehicle that accelerates faster, but it has a lower top end. It won't go as fast in the long run. If you want something that goes 0 to 30 a lot faster, go ahead and put smaller wheels on it. But realize the bottom might drag and it's going to corner weird. That's why the original Minis that they made in England had little bitty tiny wheels on it, because they wanted to go faster for a lower speed. Their top speed was garbage. They didn't go that fast, but they used them for rally dirt racing where they never went that fast anyways. You can if you want, you know. Max Stewart said, Scotty, what's your opinion of a 2016 Chrysler 200C all-wheel drive with a V6? I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot pole. That was built after Fiat took over Chrysler. It's got a bunch of Italian parts on it, and the customers of mine that bought them, they loved them when they first got them because they were real zippy, and then they fell apart and they hate it, and they said, I'll never buy another one of these Fiat Chrysler products again. They just had too many problems with them as they worn out, and of course the resale values are so if you did buy one and then want to sell it, you'd lose so much money and make your head spin. Always look at resale values of cars if you're thinking about buying a car, and if you see, man, they've got really low resale value, there's a reason they have low resale value. It's because they're made poorly. Knowledge Zeal NA says, Scotty, what do you think about the 5.0 V8 engines Ford? Are they reliable? Oh yeah, the 5-liter V8s are one of the best engines Ford ever made. I got a customer with an old one, and he's beefed it up. It's in an old Fox body. Man, that thing it scares me. Whenever I work on it, of course, I want to take it out and see how fast it is. But it's so fast that it scares me, especially in an old vehicle like that the suspension's a little bit iffy, and it's got so much horsepower, it's kind of scary. Those are very reliable engines as long as you change the oil and don't overheat them. Posis says, is a VW Passat B5 a good car? I'm thinking about getting. My friend had one for 5 years and 300,000 miles, and it still runs like new. Well, your friend is one lucky character. Now, if you're going to buy a Volkswagen Passat and you're happy with the standard transmission, it can be a good car. Yes, but they have one of the worst automatic transmissions ever made, bar none. They cost a fortune to repair, and they break all the time. But if you don't mind driving a standard, they can be decent cars. But don't buy an automatic. They're absolutely horrendous in the Volkswagen. Marcus H. says, hey, Scotty, greetings from Germany. What do you think about the 05 to 09 Mustangs with the 4.6 liters? Well, those are strong engines, you know. It's based on a truck. The block's based on a truck engine. And those are really strong engines. You take care of them, they can last a long time. I didn't know if they sold them in Germany or not. I know they never sold them in England because I was just there. I didn't know if they sold them in Germany or people imported them from the United States to Germany and then sold them there. They're strong engines. Lisa E. says, Scotty, thoughts on early 90s Chevy SUVs and trucks? It depends on what kind of setup they had. The early 90s Chevy pickup trucks and the SUVs that had V8 engines in them, they were very solid built vehicles. They could last a long time. Nothing like the new ones. The new GM stuff, they don't make what they used to. That said, I would never buy one of those that had the V6 engines in them. The V6 engines didn't have enough horsepower. They broke more often. They had more internal failure than the V8s did. And they just didn't have the power to move them around with. And really, back then, the V6s didn't get that much different gas mileage than the V8s did. They're not like the modern ones that are completely zooped up. Like, you could get a V6 engine in those days. Maybe that thing put out 170 horsepower. You can get a V6 today that puts out 375 horsepower. They were completely different engines. Back then, you had to go V8 if you wanted something that's going to last. Jerry Flores says, help, I got a 2007 Town & Country minivan. The instrument cluster's turning off and on crazily. What's the deal with this? Help. Okay, it's a 12-year-old Chrysler product. Chrysler products aren't that well made to begin with, but the dashes were one of the poorer things they made. Especially live like where I do in Houston, where it's hot and humid. The circuit boards are made out of plastic, and then they have stuff soldered. And the solder on the board generally comes apart, and they start doing stuff like that. Now, taking the dash apart on that thing is actually a pretty simple thing. It's not that hard to do. You could do it yourself. And then you could see if the circuit board's coming apart, some guys will get a soldering gun, and they'll start soldering back together. Or they'll just say, well, that one's shot. I'll go to a junkyard and get a used one and look at it, see if it looks okay, and try that. But that's the main problem with those things. The circuit boards start to come apart because of cheap manufacturing.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.